back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sonia and I would love it if you could subscribe. And if you're already an existing subscriber, welcome back. So today I'm actually going to be doing a decluttering video on my channel. I'm sorry if you can see loads of reflections. It's getting to that time in the day where it's still light but not really, so I have my beauty room light on, but I've also got my ring light on as well. I don't do these often, if I'm honest. It's very rare that I do decluttering videos, just because I do try to use and keep all the makeup I have in my collection, but you know, I do have some products that I think it's time to get rid of before the end of 2021. I have a box full here, as you can see. I'm going to do it by category so you can see like how many I'm getting rid of stuff. There could be some stuff in here that I haven't tried yet, but it might not be like my favourite colour story, or it might not suit my skin tone because, as you can see, I'm very pale, or I've tried the product and it's just not been a favourite. Or there could also be some in my collection that I have very similar colours. We'll get to it when we speak about each of the categories. Let's start with the first category, which will be primers. Okay, so here are the first products, and there's only 3 primers I'm getting rid of, and I have a reason for getting rid of all of these 3. So let's start with this one. Hopefully you can see this. This is the e.l.f. Illuminating Primer Mist. I got this free when I made an order on e.l.f. and I've tried this a few times and I find it does absolutely nothing to my skin. You know me, I love a good illuminating like base, you know, primer, foundation, and I was really excited to see that this was a free product, but it does absolutely nothing. And also the spray on this is also really vigorous. I think that's the way to describe it. It just comes out so fast and really powerful. So I'm getting rid of this because I find it does nothing. Anything that I am getting rid of in here, I will put in a box for family and friends to go through, so it isn't like just going straight into the bin. But this unfortunately didn't work for me. I'll stand it up because it's rolling around everywhere. The next thing we have is this one, and this one is the Botanics Illuminating Radiance Balm. So I think this is a brand by Boots. Last time I went into Boots, I saw there was a whole range of this. This unfortunately broke me out. This was the only product that I used that was different that time, and it did break me out, which is really sad. I remember not hating it, but it wasn't like a favourite either. This isn't something I want to keep. I'm also just really nervous about trying it again, just in case it does break me out, so I think I'm just going to pass this along to someone else. As you can see, this isn't a traditional declutter. I have already gone through all of my collection and decided what products I do want to get rid of. There will be a makeup collection video for each of my categories coming in January, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, this is a bit of a untraditional declutter because I've already gone through my collection. And the last one I want to get rid of is this one, and this one is the Rodile Soft Focus Glow Drops, and these are the illuminating ones. I hate the packaging on this product. The pipette just never brings anything out, and the product itself is really runny, and I don't like it. And unfortunately this is another product by Rodile that I found that I don't like. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you, but I don't know if you can see. Like it's just really runny. And when I put it back in again, like the product just goes all the way around the sides, and it's just a mess. So I'm going to pass this along to someone else that might like to try this. Those were the 3 primers I'm getting rid of. Now let's move on to foundation, and I don't have a huge foundation collection. I have, I think I would say, enough foundation at this moment in time, but I am getting rid of one. And the one I'm getting rid of is this one, and this is the Revolution Pro Foundation Drops. Now I love this foundation. I really do. It's one of my favourites. However, this was something my sister gave me. So my shade is usually F0.5 because I am very pale, and this one is F4, so this is my sister's shade. I'm not going to use this because I already have my right shade. This is going to be too dark, so I'm just going to pass this along. But honestly, if you haven't tried this foundation, it is beautiful. I love it. It's definitely more of an everyday foundation than I would say like a going out foundation. but I love this, but unfortunately that's just the wrong shade for me. Next thing I'm actually going to do is concealer. I would usually move on to my eyeshadow next, but I've got quite a few eyeshadow palettes that I'm going to be decluttering, so I will save them till a bit closer to the end. So we're going to move on to concealer, and for concealer I'm going to be decluttering these two. So let's start with this one. So if you've been watching my Project Pan videos, you will know that I have been panning this, not this one, but this concealer. And again, this was another one that my sister gave me because she didn't like it, and it's not the right shade for me. The one I'm panning is the right shade for me, this one isn't, so I'm going to pass this one along as well. I don't think my sister used this that much. I think she might have maybe used it once or twice, so this is practically new. So I'd rather give this to someone else that this might match, because I think this might match a few people in my life. I'm going to pass that one along. And then we have this one. So this one was for a video that I did. My sister bought me like a full face of high street makeup, and this, I remember her saying, was like her third choice of concealer. Every other concealer she did want to pick up wasn't available. So this is the Rimmel London Match Perfection concealer in supposedly porcelain. Now, I can tell you right now, that is not a porcelain shade. This is so orange. When I put it on my under eyes, I find it does nothing. For a concealer, I obviously want it to conceal a little bit. This just isn't the right shade for me. I also want it to brighten. So because this isn't a light shade, this is definitely more orange, it just doesn't work for me. I've tried it a few times. I wouldn't even, because it's meant to be a skin tone adapting concealer, I wouldn't really say that that did it for me, at least. If you've tried this, please let me know if that did for you, but I'm just going to pass this along because I don't like it, and I also really do not like the way that you apply it as well. It's just, as you can see, I don't know if you can see there, but it's actually starting to make the product look dirty, so I'm just going to pass this one along. Okay, so let's move on to eyeshadow now. For each of the categories now, I do think there is quite a few products to talk through. So let's move on to eyeshadow, and I can't believe I'm getting rid of this many eyeshadow palette. A bit of background. My favourite things to buy, especially over the past year, has been, well, I say past year, a long time, I've loved eyeshadow palettes. I just love eyeshadow. It's one of my favourite things. So, I have a bit of an obsession with eyeshadow palettes. But I've definitely, over the last year, I've found myself buying a lot more blushes than what I would usually. I also get a lot of blushes in my subscription boxes, but I found I've actually got quite a lot of blushes and also lip products. So I think those are like the three categories I would say that I have quite a lot of products in. So let's start with eyeshadow. Okay, so these are the eyeshadow palettes I'm actually going to declutter. This makes me sad because I don't want to really get rid of any eyeshadow palettes, but I do have to be, or just any eyeshadow in general, but I do have to be realistic. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, and I find myself not really gravitating to a lot of these. So let's start with this one. So this one is the Too Faced Sweet Peach. I love Too Faced palettes. It is one of my favourite formulas. I do really love Too Faced. But this palette I've had for a long time. I just don't really like the colour story on it anymore. It just doesn't inspire me. Every time I look at it, I just don't even know where to start. And when I do look at it, I'm like, I don't really want to use that. So I think this is just time to pass this along. I have other Too Faced palettes that I much prefer the colour story, that I am more gravitating towards. This one still smells like peach as well, so it's not going to offer anything, and I just think someone else in my life might actually really enjoy using this. It's a shame, I've had this for a while, but I just think it's time to go because I'm not inspired by it anymore. The next one we have is this one, and I mean, I absolutely love the packaging on this one, but unfortunately it's broken, so it doesn't actually stay closed, so I can't travel with this. I can't really use it anywhere apart from here. Now, I was tempted to take this one as like my eyeshadow palette for my parents' house, and I'm still kind of tempted by that, if I'm honest. I do have quite a lot of eyeshadows that look like this, so let me just show you it. So it does have a really big mirror, but these are the colours. And now I'm looking at this, I do think this might be the perfect palette that I can take to my parents, because I'm trying to take like makeup to my parents' house that, you know, I might not use that often, I don't want here, and this has so many colours in it and so many colours I would use. If I'm totally honest, I don't really gravitate towards dark colours. I'm definitely more of a neutral, like pink kind of girl when it comes to eyeshadow. So most probably majority of these I would say up to here, like these 9 here wouldn't get used. I actually do think that I'm going to take this to my parents' house. I think this will be the palette I will take. So technically I'm not decluttering it, but at the same time it's not going to be in any of my videos going forward, because I'm actually just going to leave this at my parents' house to use when I'm there, because I mean it has all shades. It is technically getting like taken from my collection because I'm not going to be able to use it when I'm here, but I'm actually going to put this in my parents' house because my parents did actually buy me this palette. So yes, I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. Next one we have is this one, and I love the packaging on this one. So this is the I Heart Revolution Turkish Delight palette. This is such a fun palette, but just not a colour story I would use. I think now it's just not something I find myself gravitating towards. This is new. I've not even used it. I got this last Christmas from my parents, but I got two other ones from My Heart Revolution from this chocolate bar range that I have loved and I have used a lot more than this one, and this has just been sat in my collection. And I just, like I said, it's not a colour story that I usually find I gravitate towards. So I'm actually going to pass this along. I think someone else will enjoy that a lot more than me. And then we have like a couple of little mini eyeshadow palettes. So we have this one from LA Girl. I got this one recently in like a mystery box. I mean, I have all of these colours in other palettes. It's not even been opened or used, so someone else that doesn't have millions of eyeshadow palettes like me would enjoy this a little bit more. This one is still in the packaging. So this is the Model Co liquid eyeshadow, and I'm going to get it out. The reason I'm getting rid of this one is just because I have so many that look like this that I just really don't need to keep this one as well. It does look really, really pretty. It is in champagne, but just I have so many like this that I don't need to keep this one. Then have this one. This one's by Estate and it is in Mare Babe. I think that's how you say it. And this is what it looks like. So it's just a little quad, you know, something you can take travelling. But I have already got, I think, 2 more of these that I have kept in my collection. I didn't really need 3. This colour here, I just find it's just such a random pop of colour in this palette, and it's not really a colour I gravitate towards. The other 2 palettes, one of them is just all neutral and the other one has a pop of pink. So of course I was going to keep those ones, but this one I'm just going to pass along because I won't reach for it. And this one is from Ico and it's a double-ended pencil. So we've got this one and then we have this one. We have it in Cream and Cookies. So I've just swatched it and it is, you know, the colours are pretty, but again, I just won't see myself ever using something like this. I actually found when I did this, I had to press really hard. I don't want to be doing that on my eyes, so I'm just going to pass this along. So that is all of my eyeshadow palettes I'm going to be decluttering, apart from, like I said, this one. This one's going to go to my parents, but the rest of them will go to my family and friends to have a look through to see if they want them. I'm going to have this on the entire time now. Next one I think I'm going to move on to is face palettes. I've accumulated so many face palettes this year. A lot of them I have kept, but these 2 here are ones I'm actually going to get rid of, and I'll tell you why. So this one we actually got in a rocker box, and when I first got this I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. But when I actually look at it, I just don't think that this is going to suit my skin tone. This highlight I think is going to be too dark, and this is a pretty blush, but I have individual blushes that look like this. Even though I haven't swatched it, it looks like it's been swatched, but I haven't touched it. I'm just going to pass this along because I just don't, I'd prefer to have a face palette that, especially when it's only got 2 colours like this, that would work for me, because I wouldn't take this away with me if it was only for 1 blush, because I won't be able to use the highlight. So I'm going to pass this along. And then we have this, and this is the Sculpted by Amy Connolly Beauty Likes blocks. So both of these haven't been used. I am trying to get away from having stuff that isn't used in my collection. Now, I didn't purchase this. This was given to me in a subscription box. I don't think I would have chose these colours. I know there is some, I think there's like another version of this which is a bit lighter on the website, but I wouldn't have personally chose that one. I would have thought it would look too dark. This one was one I got in a Latest in Beauty in like a specific kit that I bought. And this one is in light. So I thought, great, this is going to look really nice. I mean, the packaging is absolutely beautiful, but I'm just so underwhelmed by these colours. I really am. So this highlight too dark. This again looks like a very similar colour, and I think that's meant to be a blush. Is that meant to be a blush? Yeah, so that's a blush. It doesn't look like anything. So you see there at the back, that's what it's meant to look like. To me, that doesn't look like that at all. We have a cream highlight, which, you know, does look pretty. And then we have a bronzer that looks really orangey, to me anyway. So I didn't want to use this because when I actually looked at it, I was thinking, this is brand new. And this can be something that, you know, someone in my family or friends can have. And it's not been touched well, so it'll be a nice little thing for them to have. I was just so underwhelmed by this, which is such a shame. I've just decided that I am not going to be keeping stuff in my collection for the sake of keeping it. These two face palettes will be going. The last things that I think are left are mainly blushes and lip products. I do have a couple of miscellaneous products though, so I will just do those and then we'll move on to the blush and lip products. I do have a couple of eyeshadow primers. This one is from ELF and this one is from Mirabella. If I'm honest, I don't use eyeshadow primer, and I've had this like in my basket to use, which is what I have, and it's been sat in there for months and months and months and I'm not using it. So I just don't use eyeshadow primer. There's no point keeping it in my collection. I'd rather pass that along to someone else that does use it. So those two are going. And then we have one nail varnish, which is actually the nail varnish I'm wearing. So this is the Rimmel nail varnish in Fab. The reason I'm getting rid of this one, as you can see I am using it, is because I just don't really like this compared to the other ones I've got in my collection. It took at least 3 coats, and I would say even on some of them, like this little mini finger here, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, it still isn't fully coated. And I've got like nail varnishes in my collection that, you know, will need maximum 2 coats. I think just because this takes a lot of coats and a lot of time, and I'm not obsessed with the colour. Obviously I've got it on my nails and I think it's pretty, but I'm not obsessed. Oh, I've missed an eyeshadow. So we have this one here from W7. This one is in Yummy Eyes and it is just a baked eyeshadow, just like this. So I actually got this in a mystery box and this came smashed. And when I contacted them, they never got back to me. So I was thinking, oh, it's not really that good customer service. But I then bought more products from W7 and then a product came smashed in that as well. So I got in contact with them and they got back to me and sent me a replacement. And I mentioned about this and they then also sent me this as well. However, I just don't use shadows like this individually, so I'm just going to pass this along. Okay, so next we're on to blushes, and I have 4 blushes. Now, this one isn't a blusher for me, but I think it is technically meant to be a blusher. So we'll start with this one, and this one's by the brand Floss. Some of these, I think all of these products here I got in a subscription box. I think some other products that I've just mentioned as well, and I'm really cutting down my subscription boxes to ones that I like the products I've got out of over the past year, because I have accumulated a lot of products that I didn't really want, so I'm trying to be a lot better with that. So this is the first product and it's in the colour Villa. So this is meant to be a blush, so it's a really sleek packaging and it's a screw top, but this is not a blush colour for me, and I could maybe use it as a contour, but if I'm honest, I'm focusing on a contour palette at the moment and I don't really contour, so I'm trying to use that palette to get rid of my contour. I don't really want to be bringing in any more contour products. I'm just going to pass this along. For its intended purpose, it's too dark for me. I then have this one, and this one's by Phase Zero. I am getting rid of this one because of the colour. I think if this was more of a pink colour, I would absolutely keep it, but it's in the colour Making Moves, and this is what the colour looks like. This is not a colour I gravitate towards when it comes to a blush. It looks really pretty, it does, but I just know me, and I know I won't use this. So again, this is a product that hasn't even been touched. Hopefully someone else will enjoy this more than me. Then we have this one, and this was a contender actually for being panned next year in one of my projects. But when I was having a bit of a play with makeup, this was so sticky and it didn't dry down, and I was thinking this is just not gonna look good on my skin. So this is actually a lip and cheek colour, so that might be why it was a little bit like sticky and it didn't really dry. I'm just gonna get rid of this because I'm not gonna use it as a lip product, and the purpose I was gonna use it for a blush, I didn't really like the way it felt on my hand when I swatched it, so I don't think I'm gonna like the way that it feels on my cheeks. I did use this before, I think when I first got it, which was last year. I think I got this last year, yeah, and I liked it. I don't really like it now. And then we have this one. This is the Co Beauty Cheek and Lip Tint in Flamingo Pink. I just think this is going to be so bright, and I don't really go for bright blushes, mainly just go for pinks and peaches if I'm honest, but I use a very light hand with my blush. This just looks like something I wouldn't use. It is completely sealed, so you know, someone else can have this, but I just won't use it. And that is the blushes I'm getting rid of. And then last but no means least, we're going to move on to lip products. So here are the lip products I'm getting rid of. Compared to what I've got in my collection, this isn't a huge amount, but these are the ones where either I won't use it, I've got colour similar to it, I don't like the formula. Yeah, we'll go through it. So the first one we have is this one by e.l.f. and it is in Sugar Plum. And if I'm honest, I don't really go for colours like this often. I have one in my collection by NYX, I think it's Copenhagen, I think it is, that is this colour, and I much prefer to use that one over this, so I don't think I need more than one of this colour in my collection. The next thing we have is this one, and this one's by W7, and it is the Skinny Lippings 2 in Stolen Kiss. So when I first got this, I got this in a mystery box, so it wasn't something I went out and purchased like myself. I thought, oh my god, this is so pretty, like I love the colour, you know, I swatched it, I've just swatched it now for you again, and I thought, wow, that is so pretty. And then I put it on my lips, and I just really did not like the way that this colour looked on my lips. I think this is meant to be like a dupe for like a Kylie one, I think. The colour of it just does not suit my skin tone, so I'm going to be getting rid of this one. The next one we have is this, and again, this is another one from a subscription box, and this is the Smoothie Stick Lip Crayon, and I think it's by Beauty Crop. The colour of it is like this, so it's a bit of a hot pink. So it looks like this. I've got so many colours like this in my collection, and I used to love like sticks like this where it is a bit more moisturising and stuff, but to be fair, again, I don't need a lot of these colours in my collection, even though I do have a lot of these colours in my collection, but I have better formulas that I know I do like compared to this. So this one I'm getting rid of just because I've already got like a few of these in this collection, and I got a kit which pretty much they all look the same colour. That's kind of the reason, because a lot of the shades look very similar, and I've kept the ones I did want. So this is the Better to Pout, and this one is in Hot Cocoa. So this one is definitely more like nudie brown. I much prefer like a nudie pink, and like I said, I think I've got about 3 more of these in like a more of a nudie pink colour. So I'm just going to pass this one along because it's going to take me forever to use those other ones up, no matter this one, and this isn't really a colour that I gravitate towards often. And then the last two are more lip balms. We have this one from Burt's Bees, and this one is in Cucumber Mint. I didn't like this. I found it didn't moisturise my lips at all, and I don't really like the smell of it either. I was really sad about that actually, because I really wanted to like Burt's Bees, but I just didn't like this. I didn't like it at all, and the time I used this, I really needed the moisturisation in my lips, and this just didn't give it, so that's a shame. And then we have this one, and this is the Dr. Lip Tint, and this is the Red Radish pigment. I've already had this one before, I think, or I've definitely had a Dr. Lip Tint. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of over these like type of products, because I'd much prefer to just have a clear lip balm, and then I can put the colour on that I want myself. I know some people like these because it's easier, but I just don't. I don't really like products like this. When I tried the other one, I liked it, but this is going to be a red colour, and I much prefer to use one of my red lipsticks than to use this. So this hasn't even been used. I'll pass this along. That was my declutter video. These are all the products I'll be getting rid of in my collection. Like I said, I really don't do declutters that much because I don't like getting rid of my makeup. especially like, you know, if people have bought it as gifts or I've paid for it myself, and you know, because makeup is expensive. But it was time to get rid of these products because I just wasn't using them, and there is no point having products in your collection that just sit there and collect dust when it can get passed along to someone else that might not have as many makeup products as I do. That was my decluttering video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and it would mean the absolute world to me if you could subscribe if you don't already. And I'd love to know below your thoughts and opinions on the products I've decluttered. Do you like any of these products? Do you agree with me on the reasons why I'm decluttering them? Do you feel the same? And if you have a decluttering video, please let me know below, because these videos are some of my favourite videos to watch. And until my next video, thank you for coming by. See you later.